This morning, when dozens of the most prominent African-American CEOs and business leaders in the country published a full-page ad in the New York Times urging corporate America to take a stand against the new voter suppression laws like this one in Georgia, Sherrilyn Ifill, head of the NAACP Legal Defense Fund, responded to that on Twitter by saying, quote, "Trust me, this is huge." Sure enough, a few hours later, huge Georgia-based corporations like Delta and Coca-Cola were feeling their oats on this issue for the first time, coming out, slamming the Georgia voting law for the first time, late, frankly, since the bill has already passed, but they absolutely have now moved on the issue. Something really did shift today on this front in the battle against these voter suppression laws. Joining us now is the clairvoyant Sherrilyn Ifill, President and Director Counsel of the NAACP Legal Defense Fund. Ms. Ifill, it's really nice to have you here. Thank you so much for making time.
Of course.
Why did you see that letter from Black CEOs and business leaders as huge? And what do you make of the impact that it had just today?
Well, a number of advocates, local advocates in Georgia, had been pressing these corporations over weeks. Black Voters Matter, the Georgia NAACP, the New Georgia Project, really pushing these local corporations to take a stand against what was clearly going to be a disastrous bill. And, you know, these are corporations that are synonymous with the state of Georgia. Coca-Cola is synonymous with Georgia. So a number of groups on the ground had been pushing. I had been in conversations with these corporations, asking them to stand against these provisions. We felt it was important for the business community to speak up, including the Chamber of Commerce, the Georgia Chamber, and the Metro Atlanta Chamber. And it is true that they were behind the scenes hoping they could make the bill better, I think. And I think actually at the end, they think that what they did, and at least they thought what they did was sufficient, that there were some terrible provisions that were removed from the bill. But the bill that passed is still terrible. And their failure to speak as themselves, as Georgia corporations, they were beginning to feel the heat. And when these CEOs came out this morning, these are heavy hitters, Rachel. These are not people who are silly, who are fly-by-night. These are men and women that when they call, you take the call. And business leaders across the country know that. They know these names. So when this came out this morning, a full-page ad, A7 in the New York Times, and you saw these CEOs on CNBC and the other channels that people in finance watch in the morning, it was clear to me that this was a game changer. And I think that with the pressure from the local groups, and of course there have been threats of boycotts, it did make a difference.
Do you think that this may translate, that this will remain focused on Georgia, or do you think that this may translate to these CEOs, these corporations, others perhaps who may find themselves in the same frame of mind, that they might work to pass S1, the federal voting rights protection, and the John Lewis bill as well, that would afford federal protections that would essentially neutralize some of the worst impact of these state bills like the ones in Georgia?
Yeah, I know that that's an explicit ask of local groups, you know, an ask that, first of all, they stand up in other states where copycat bills are being planned. I mean, I did say to the CEO of Coca-Cola, people drink Coca-Cola in Texas, too. And Texas is setting about trying to pass some of these bills as well. But H.R. 1 and H.R. 4 are critically important, and local groups have been making that direct request to these very companies, including the companies that switched their position today, to understand the importance of seeking a federal solution. We're playing whack-a-mole across a variety of states. We're seeing these laws proposed in Florida and Texas and Michigan and states around the country. And so we really need that federal legislation. And it's going to be a test to see whether corporations are willing to stand up. These are corporations that are willing to stand up against anti-LGBTQ legislation, which is vitally important. They have spoken out on climate change. They've spoken out on gun violence. Now we need them to speak out on this issue, on this race issue. And it's a democracy issue. And I have been really distressed over the last few weeks and concerned that, the business plan of many American corporations appears to be agnostic about democracy. When you try to deny citizens the ability to vote and participate in the political process and punish them for turning out in record numbers, as the Georgia legislature did with this bill, then you're engaged in anti-democratic actions. And that's a space where corporations, in my view, are compelled to speak because they benefit from our democracy. And I think after January 6th, we recognize that we need all of the segments of our society to stand together to protect democracy.
Cheryl Kneifel, President and Director Counsel of the NAACP Legal Defense Fund. It's really good to see you. Thank you for being here. It's kind of an exciting day today to watch this unfold. Thanks for helping us understand.
Thank you, Rachel.
We'll be right back. Stay with us. Hey, thanks for watching our YouTube channel. You should know that you can follow today's top stories and breaking news and catch up on your favorite MSNBC shows all in one place. Download the NBC News app today.